Hey y'all, thanks for joining me. This is a follow-up to the EP's Bad Omen video that I did because after I did the video, I had all these ideas of what this could mean. Because when I reported it, I was just kind of like, wow, it was so shocking. I didn't have a chance to really take time to break this down. And in response to some of your comments, I will remind people, in case they don't know, that my channel is through my Orthodox Christian lens, my perspective, my thoughts, my opinions on what goes on. And if it has anything to do with interpretations or prophecy, that I refer to the saints about, which I will be doing in just a minute. I want to dive deeper into the three evils, as the reporter called them, that happened with the EP, the Ecumenical Patriarch, cutting the New Year's bread, the Vasilopita, the St. Basil's bread, which is much deeper than, and I think people have touched on this, but it's much deeper than what was said. You know, obviously the EP said, well, this is a bad omen. But there's more to this. There is way more. If you look at the symbolism of everything and you look deeper, and I like to do that. I like to ponder. I like to think about things. That's how my brain works, okay? So, this is how I'm seeing things, and it's just my thoughts. So, just to make that clear, because people, oh, you have the authority. No, I don't have the authority. But I have the authority of my own opinion. So, we're going to go ahead, and this is kind of a last minute thing that I decided to do because I am busy later. I have a live stream that I'll be doing, so I'm just going to quickly, hopefully, get through this. So the symbolism. So let's go through the symbolism of what happened to the patriarch. He was trying to cut the Vasilopita bread. First off, before he was able to even start cutting the bread, at the beginning of the event, the lights had gone out. That could be a spiritual message as well, meaning darkness, okay? Meaning you're not spiritually, that you're missing the light, okay? That's just how I interpret it. Now, my son and I talked about the three, that was the one, and he agreed with me on the darkness thing. He contributed to the two-knife issue. Things always happen in threes for Orthodoxy, by the way. But anyway, the first knife was broken. It broke on a soft sweet bread. It's almost like a cake, which seems absolutely impossible. So we know it is from, it's not a regular earthly thing to happen. There wasn't anything in the cake that was hard that would have broken the knife. So, I mean, those who have made Vasilopitas, who have eaten Vasilopitas, understand this. This just doesn't happen. The Vasilopita is not a brick hard, okay? And even if it was harder, a metal knife would not break. Now, I don't know what knife they used the first time. It didn't look metal. However, it took 3 knives to cut through this, which is very, very odd and strange. And this is why we are seeing this as a sign. Even the EP saw this as a bad omen. So he is aware, you know, he does have his spiritual faculties and all that. The important thing also is that the first one broke, which according to my son, he believes that means he doesn't have the authority. He's lost his authority in his bishopric to do things because of what's happened over the past several years with the Ukraine issue. I think that's a good point I think he made. And number 2, on the second one, the knife bent, and my son said he thinks that shows that he's not, that it could be a message that the EP is not following the canonical and correct teachings of how to, in his bishopric, on what he's doing. And so it's bent. It's not the straight way. It's bent. if you look at it as a symbolic of spiritual meaning. Also, this event, it happened at this event. It could have happened at some other ceremony where he was just cutting some other cake or some food. It didn't. It happened at the New Year's event with the Vasilopita, the New Year's bread with 2026 on it, which means to me that this will happen, whatever this omen is, this year. I also think it was a merciful message from God to the Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, showing a warning before anything might happen to him, because according to some an eldris, he is going to be assassinated. So I'm going to show you that particular video in case people haven't seen it through the Holy Wisdom channel. And I'll go into that right this minute so you can see what she saw, and then I'll come back on that. In fact, I can do that. Just a second here. Okay, so the old woman, Galactia, had seen him once and said, and she's talking about the EP, had seen him once and said we should pray, and I will say this, she had seen the gray wolves enter the Fanner, that's the extremist group in Turkey, had entered the Fanner and cut off his head, and she said we should fall to our knees and pray not to allow it. The old woman saw them enter the Fanner and take his head, and she said it. Eurindisa Galactia specifically referred to an attack by the Grey Wolves, an extremist Turkish group. If this vision were to come true, Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew could be regarded as a new martyr and possibly the last enslaved patriarch of the nation of Greece. Such a tragedy might spark a nationwide uprising and foster unity among Greeks and Orthodox Christians worldwide. However, others claim that if he were to be killed, it would be punishment for his sins, not a sanctified martyrdom. Okay, so that's what the eldris did. Okay, so this is what she saw, and I think some people are referring to that when they if they are aware of some of these prophecies, the comments in that under that video were, I think, about what has happened with the EP and how he's veered off the trail and things like that. So, of staying canonically correct. He's been on the borders, he's gone over according to many people. And I think those three, which always comes in threes, those three signs, omen, because he realizes that it was an omen after those three instances, those three occurrences. So, and it's the new year. So these are important things to think about, to ponder on, if you are into doing such things as I am. Nevertheless, I had prayed for him last night. I will continue to pray for him. But I do see that this was a merciful message from God, because things could have been worse for him, according to the Arendissa, still could, but this was a merciful message, I think, to warn the EP, and I think he recognized that. I'm sure he realizes deep down in his soul that some of the things he's been doing are not really right. And I do have a new article on that about what he's been thinking and struggling with, but I will get to that probably maybe tomorrow. So I wanted to share that. And again, this is just the way I've seen it. Y'all can share how you're feeling if you feel the need to. I felt compelled to do that. So thanks so much.